What you know you can't explain. But you feel it. You felt it your entire life. That there's something wrong. You don't know what it is, but it's there. Like a splinter in your mind, driving you mad. Experience the awakening. Brilliant anonymous researchers. Patriots, join us in the Patriot Army. Trust the plan, pain coming. Boom, boom, boom. Let's go. RedStateTalkRadio.com, Brighteon.tv, Rumble.com/MG Show. The end won't be for everyone. That choice to know will be yours. Where we go one, we go all. Fight, 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 and fight we will. We fight every day right here on the MG Show. Hello, everyone. Hello, hello. Welcome to the MG Show, because we are talking about little green cars, Shady. Welcome to the MG Show. We're going to talk about the little green car from England. Hello, everybody.
Where the hell did I end up this morning? It's another day here. Welcome, everybody. It is Thursday. Welcome to each and every one of you. Jeff, it's 9/4. September the 4th. We're 10 months away from the biggest win that America has ever had, which was re-electing Donald Trump to the presidency of the United States. And here we sit today. A year ago, we were like, you guys better get your asses out there and vote, or there's going to be HTP. Today, we're like, oh my God, you did your job, and now we're all like basking in the glory of what is to come. What is the future for not even just us? What is the future for everybody? The future looks bright. As long as you're not looking towards the psychological operators out there, your future looks amazing.
And why is my head so much bigger than yours?
It's been the case the whole time.
There we go.
I believe that it's distance from the camera, sir. I've got this thing like halfway across the room, and you're like all up there, like really like real intimate with that thing.
Hello.
Hello.
Oh my God. And I'm HD. Okay. All right.
You are coming in HD.
So we are watching the RFK Jr. thing. Wow, guys. We're going to cover a little bit of that because Mr. Crapo is the one that let us off. You can't make this up, guys.
Well, it's par for the course, sir. That's what we're going to have to call it. Par for the course.
Yeah. That was Jeff's attempt at a posh English accent. That's right, Ross Pure. I'm from the other side of the tracks, all right?
Bloody L.
Bloody hell. You are not. I'm a little cockney, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you don't.
Hey, now. All right, so let's kick it off with RFK Jr. testifying. There was even a protester in there, Shady Grove. Wow, boga, boga, boga. And, you made an interesting observation. Doesn't it seem like that the pharmaceutical-sponsored right and left are going against RFK Jr.? Don't they want this country healthy? What is wrong?
I think that this is a crossroads moment for all of us. I think that what's going on right now and what you're going to see today, we've gotten pieces of it. We're going to watch a good portion of it for today, because we believe that this is so important, because this is a topic that affects every single one of us. These idiots have been standing up there for decades and telling us that, oh, you got to trust the science and you've got to do this. Meanwhile, they never produced the science. And this is very interesting, going back decades for me, whenever I first started trying to research this stuff about vaccines back in the 90s. It was damn near impossible to find one shred of real evidence or real research that these people kept saying existed. They kept telling us that there were all of these studies that proved that vaccinations were safe and that the stuff that was in the vaccinations was actually there and you could go read them. But whenever I tried to do such things back then, you couldn't go read them because they didn't exist, and they don't exist. And that is the bottom line, God's honest truth that people don't want you to know. But the pharmaceutical companies, Jeff, they've got their hands very far up there within your politicians, and they do this and the politicians do that, and then the next thing you know, you've got no information and a bunch of garbage being injected into our society every single day.
Yeah. And, and I'm old enough to remember when we didn't have, we only had like a classroom that only housed a couple of people that were special, if you will, that needed special help in school. Now they've got whole damn schools.
Yeah.
So something must be wrong, right? I mean, come on. Can we all agree to that now? And President Trump is challenging the actual pharmaceutical companies to release the data, okay, of how safe and effective. They said that it was 100% safe and effective, the COVID vaccine. Prove it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, prove it. And they're also now you're getting ready to see something. You're getting ready to see how your politicians defend the status quo. They are elected. The idea of the country is that you select a politician and he goes up there and represents you, not his own personal pocketbook or his own interest. How can you square that circle? How can you possibly come to the conclusion that these people are there to protect us whenever the questions that they ask have absolutely nothing to do with a single concern that you have?
That's right. That's right, Shady. And let's go ahead and before we get to Mr. Crapo, the chairman of the Senate hearing at among this CDC chaos, meaning they're being fired because they're not doing their jobs, okay? The CDC is supposed to be the Center for Disease Control, and we're full of disease, aren't we? I mean, we can all agree that America...
Not the Center for Disease Dispersion.
That seems like what they're being.
Like that's what they're doing.
Real quick, Shady, let's do this because it is NFL primetime. Hello, football fanatics. Are you ready for some primetime NFL football action? Tune in to Westwood One for all the gridiron glory that you crave. From jaw-dropping touchdowns to game-changing plays, don't miss a moment of the excitement. Catch every snap, every tackle, every victory on Westwood One. You can listen to the NFL on NFL app, on the Westwood One Sports app, on WestwoodOneSports.com, via Westwood One station streams, or by asking the old ALEXA to open Westwood One Sports. If it's the NFL, it's on Westwood One. All right, here we go to Mr. Crapo, Shady.
All right.
This hearing will come to order. Today we meet to hear from U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. about President Trump's 2026 health care agenda. Mr. Secretary, thank you for being here. While I expect a spirited debate today, I would remind my colleagues that each senator is limited to 5 minutes, and we're going to try to keep that as tight as we can today. There's 27 of us, and we all probably are going to want to have our opportunity. At the end of the 5-minute time frame, I will gently tap the gavel if it appears that things are starting to lapse over, and encourage my colleagues and our witness to conclude their remarks at the conclusion of this time. President Trump and Secretary Kennedy have made a steadfast commitment to make America healthy again. Under this administration, HHS has placed patients at the center of the healthcare system, empowering them with the tools and information they need to create a healthier future. We know that chronic diseases such as heart disease and cancer and diabetes are some of the leading causes of death in America. Now the department has a renewed focus on tackling the root causes of chronic disease and promoting prevention first. I look forward to exploring ways that the federal government can further align payment incentives to support healthy living and fight chronic disease. The administration has also prioritized efforts to end waste, fraud, and abuse in our federal health care programs, including through eligibility and enrollment verification. This critical work is not just about saving taxpayer dollars. It's about restoring trust and ensuring vital programs like Medicare and Medicaid are sustainable for generations to come. In July, the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, CMS, announced that the agency identified 2.8 million Americans who were simultaneously enrolled in multiple Medicaid or Affordable Care Act exchange plans. Stopping this duplicate enrollment while working with states to ensure that individuals do not inappropriately lose coverage has the potential to save taxpayers $14 billion annually. CMS has also taken steps to provide states with additional immigration information to verify eligibility for federal health care programs. Preserving lifelines like Medicaid for those who are legally entitled under the law will ensure long-term sustainability. Congress has bolstered these efforts by passing the One Big Beautiful Bill. This bill enacts common sense reforms to reduce improper payments and brings needed personal accountability to the Medicaid program. These reforms will protect Medicaid and refocus the program on the most vulnerable patients, those whom the program was intended to serve.
Not illegal immigrants.
OBA also created the Rural Health Transformation Program, the single largest investment in rural health care in decades, to help stabilize and modernize the rural health delivery system throughout our country. These accomplishments reflect a vision for a healthcare system that is proactive, efficient, and patient-centered. While many of the issues discussed today may be partisan in nature, this committee has a deep history of bipartisan healthcare accomplishments. I remain committed to partnering with this administration and Ranking Member Wyden to enact policies that realign incentives in the prescription drug supply chain, expand access to telehealth, and ensure long-term stability in our physician payment system. Mr. Secretary, I look forward to hearing from you today about the administration's efforts to make America healthy again and how we can continue to work together to achieve this shared goal. Thank you very much. Senator Wyden.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As the committee gathers today, the United States is in the midst of a health care calamity.
No, we're not.
Cuts to American health care in the history of our nation, and they are approaching like an avalanche.
The guy has vaccine damage. That's why he has that lisp.
Yeah, and if we had done it right, Joe Ray Perkins would be there right now.
Senior leadership at the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention were fired or they resigned after refusing to bow to Robert Kennedy's unceasing crusade against vaccines. I traveled across Oregon last month, and the message was the same from one end of the state to the other. Families are confused. They're scared about who to trust about their health care.
No,
Robert Kennedy and Donald Trump have done so much to feed that mistrust. This morning, my staff, in partnership with Senator Alsobrooks' team, is releasing a report that shows the disaster of Robert Kennedy's 203 days in office. Every single day, there's been an action that endangers the health and wellness of American families. Robert Kennedy has elevated conspiracy theorists, crackpots, and grifters to make life or death decisions about the health care of the American people.
Breaking news. Money from pharmaceuticals, health products to U.S. Senators. Ron Wyden, 1990 to 2024. Oregon, $1,214,999. Okay?
Money
That's who he's speaking for. Do we get that yet? Do we understand that yet? Press 47 if you understand that.
Boom.
Robert Kennedy's tenure is so far marked by 3 calling cards. One is chaos.
We voted for that.
Health agencies leaving families, doctors, and the entire nation confused and frightened. Corruption that benefits Robert Kennedy, Donald Trump, and their friends at the expense of taxpayers. And higher health costs for families. I ask unanimous consent, Mr. Chairman, to enter this report into the record.
Without objection.
Then there's chaos. It's been obvious from the start that Robert Kennedy's primary interest.
I want your primary interest, your $1.2 million entered into the record that you got from pharmaceutical companies. Okay, enter that into the record too. Come on.
is to take vaccines away from Americans during his
Eddie Mike says, suffering succotash.
Exactly. That's 100% what I'm hearing.
process. He claimed to be pro-safety and pro-science, but his actions reveal a steadfast commitment to elevating junk science and fringe conspiracies. His agenda has not been about choices and information for families.
I mean, if I got 1.2 million from the pharmaceutical companies, I guess I would be saying the same thing. No, Shady? I mean, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah. You know, I mean, you have to trust the people that pay you to think.
Gotcha.
Just last week, he threatened doctors that deviated from the new anti-science vaccine guidelines he released that make it harder for pregnant women and children to get the COVID vaccine. And then there's corruption. Robert Kennedy's bizarre statements and actions beg the question, why? Democrats on this committee answered that question months ago. Robert Kennedy can enrich himself and his allies. His family still stands to gain from class.
So Robin Biden's pharmaceutical companies enriched you, right, Shady? Are we tired of this yet?
We are.
Action lawsuits against vaccine makers. Now, Robert Kennedy fired every member, every single one of the group responsible for making vaccine recommendations to doctors across the country under the false pretense of conflicts of interest. Meanwhile, many of the new members of the panel are outright vaccine deniers who've appeared as paid witnesses in lawsuits against vaccine makers. Their conflicts of interest and ethics disclosures remain hidden under lock and key. On top of all this,
And your conflict of interest and disclosure is public. $1.214 million, Shady.
in America,
The reason that all of this stuff is coming down to this particular subject is because what you're seeing here at the CDC is pervasive. It's throughout all of government. And this is, the idea of what we have like K Street and lobbyists. And you've heard me say this if you've been listening to me for a long time, since going back to the Q Lounge days. America doesn't have a lobbyist. The president of the United States is supposed to be the lobbyist for the American people. And the abdication of that responsibility by that position going back for about 110 years or so, which kind of has been what it's been, which has been pretty much a controlled office by the people that want to lord over you, that were lording over you before we shot them in the face in 1776, by the way. And they're the ones that are out there that are screaming Palestine, and they're the ones that are out there that are screaming Epstein, and they're the ones that are out there that are screaming all of these other things, and they're the ones that are out there trying to force you to take pharmaceuticals that you do not need as a human being. And I know this from a very personal standpoint. There is over 10 people in the world today that are adults that did not take vaccinations because of information that I provided to their families. And I know them, and I know how they are. Yeah. And it is a complete stark difference from them to some of the people in my own family who wouldn't listen to me and their children. And I'm not going to say any more than that, but it's a clear difference. And what's going on in our society, I'm even saw a connection now that there's possibly a connection between Tylenol and in combination with the vaccines that is causing an escalation of autism. So I don't really care which whatever is to blame for what it is we're seeing. The only thing that we know is it used to be when Trump was young, 1 in 10,000, and when RFK was young, and now it's 9% or something. I mean, whatever the number is. So all of this is coming to a head right now from the CDC because the CDC was created, okay, to quote unquote fight malaria, but that's not what they did. The CDC created Lyme disease. The CDC created all of these other different things. They're built off of malaria. That's the reason that hydroxychloroquine is working for so many diseases, including Parkinson's and Alzheimer's, because all of everything that the CDC has done to us for the last 80 years or so has been Nazi science that has been to harm you. That's the truth. That's the cold, hard truth that nobody wants to talk about. So right now what you have is Bobby Kennedy is in there, and he is standing up for normality, and he's going to stand up against both sides. So you need to take your fear of the future, your fear of like, I don't need a vaccine or whatever. Put your fear in your pocket. Life doesn't work like that. If fear would serve you, then what? Then it would be free on the corner. Okay, you have to generate it on your own. Stop being afraid.
And somebody made a comment that the pharmaceutical lobby is huge. It is. This is basically. I'll send the link in here for you guys. But this is the pharmaceutical lobby. Look at the amount of money that people have received. Okay, from the pharma lobby. Okay. Look at this, guys. You think these people are going to talk against pharmaceutical companies if they give over $1 million to their? Okay, and there's Republicans and Democrats in here. There's Ron Wyden right there.
No, we're getting ready to move into the election season, bro. They need money next year.
Yep. Wow.
And this guy Wyden right there, I mean, he's one of the most corrupt. And right now we have a coalition going on between Oregon. I think Oregon, Washington, and California are starting to coalesce, and they're acting like they're going to stand up against the CDC. And California is implementing stricter vaccination protocols and more vaccinations that you have to give your children. This is an enemy line that's being created with the Washington, Oregon, California border that are essentially controlled by Chinese interests. You guys don't understand what's going on out here. You don't recognize the threat. China is controlling all the politicians from the whole West Coast, including people like Rep. Swalwell, Adam Schiff, Nancy Pelosi, city centers like San Francisco. There's places
Gavin Newsom.
There's places you could go in San Francisco where you can't read a street sign. It's not because it's in Mexico or Spanish. It's because it's Chinese, guys.
Yeah, Washington State, Chinese signs. Remember we went there, and I'm like, I can't even read the damn signs.
Or the signs on the building.
Yeah. Yeah, and DQ makes a good point. I thought the unvaccinated were all going to die in a dark, cold winter, and I'm still here too. God bless you all.
Here we sit.
Shady, you talked about, you 10 people personally. This show, we all stood strong together, guys. I did. My mom didn't take it. You didn't take it. I didn't take it. Many of my friends here, you guys didn't take it. I love you guys. So stand strong. Just like Florida, their mandates are going to go away. You have the choice to put whatever you want in your body. That's your God-given right, for crying out loud.
They would call it freedom in the old world.
Wow. Thank God for Florida. Here we go. Back to this guy. Then we're going to hear Robert F. Kennedy. Check it out.
Healthcare. Just 2 months ago, Donald Trump signed the largest healthcare cuts in American history to pay for tax breaks for the wealthiest people and massive corporations in our country. Republicans know these cuts are going to hit communities like a wrecking ball. That's why they pushed the most severe cuts until after the election. That's why their members already introduced bills to roll back some of the cuts. Make no mistake, though, those cuts are being felt right now. We're seeing hospitals in Idaho cutting payments, hospitals and nursing homes. Providence Seaside Hospital in Oregon announced they're shutting down their labor and delivery unit. Every family is going to feel the burden of Trump care in America. Premiums are going to spike next year, especially for those who buy health insurance on their own. But the effects will be felt by those who get insurance also through an employer. Congress has an opportunity to extend the Affordable Care Act tax credits that lower the cost of premiums. Democrats are ready to pass an extension that stops a dramatic premium spike that would force many families to pay double what they do today. Instead of finding ways to help American families pay less for health care, Robert Kennedy is focused on his anti-vaccine mission, fueled by some kind of complex that the consequences be damned. Amid this litany of corruption and chaos, at one point I have to underline is Robert Kennedy puts children in harm's way every single day in America. My Republican colleagues, I must ask, what line must Robert Kennedy cross before some of you will also join this alarm? This weekend, under the cover of darkness, Robert Kennedy attempted to disappear hundreds of children under his care at Office of Refugee Resettlement facilities. These children here without parents or family were rounded up in the middle of the night and put on planes to Guatemala. Lawyers on the ground described unthinkable scenes. Our staff, some who are here today, were party to this in the middle of the night. And one child said to their lawyer, "Why do they want to send me back? My mom is dead and my dad abuses me. Why do they want to hurt me?" This was an actual conversation.
I want to take care of the little
Legal
children.
documents show that many of these children were in the country to escape trafficking in their homeland.
This guy's disgusting.
Mr. Kennedy calls himself a protector of children. Some kind of rich claiming from somebody who's flown on Jeffrey Epstein's private jet on multiple occasions. I don't think Robert Kennedy should be within a million miles of this job. Republicans on the committee had a chance to prevent the public health train wreck that Mr. Kennedy has engineered. Everyone voted for him. It is in the country's best interest that Robert Kennedy step down, and if he doesn't, Donald Trump should fire him before more people are hurt by his reckless disregard for science and the truth. I also would like to note Senator Cantwell has joined us in this effort. I hope, at the very least, Robert Kennedy has the decency to tell the truth this morning. Mr. Chairman, I have a procedural request I'd like to make at this time. It's a short one.
Proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, it's unfortunate that I have to say this, but this is a witness who has lied to members of the Senate Finance Committee. In response to over 35 written questions, including from me, he said, and I quote, that he would do nothing as HHS Secretary that makes it difficult or discourages people from taking vaccines. That was clearly not true. His unprecedented unilateral actions to restrict access to COVID vaccines, that alone proves it. He tried to fire the Senate-approved CDC director after she chose the truth over what I consider his delusions. His prepared testimony even today includes the debunked lie that 500,000 children disappeared under the Biden administration's watch, a lie that the Trump administration is using as a pretext to hunt immigrant children and their families. So, my request, Mr. Chairman, and I think it is unfortunate that I have to do this, but given the unprecedented nature of the witness's behavior, I would ask now that the committee formally swear in Robert Kennedy as a witness.
Senator Wyden, I will personally object and will reject your request. We will treat this witness as we treat all of the other administration witnesses who come before us. And let me just say again, as I said in my opening remarks, we will have some partisan disagreements today. We're having partisan disagreements right now, and I am having partisan disagreements with you on your characterization of the facts. The bottom line is we will let the Secretary make his own case in his opening statement.
I'll only say, Mr. Chairman, that this committee's unwillingness to swear this witness is basically a message that it is acceptable to lie to the Senate Finance Committee about hugely important questions like vaccines. I think that's a great mistake, and that's why I've made the request. I understand that you're not going to grant it, and we can move on.
We'll get to the bottom of your accusations, but at this point, I'm going to turn to our witness, the Secretary of Health and Human Services, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. And Mr. Kennedy, Mr. Secretary, you may make your opening statement at this time.
Thank you, Chairman Crapo, and thank you, Ranking Member Wyden, and the invitation to appear before the committee today. Before I summarize what we've accomplished this year at HHS, I want to express my deepest condolence to the family of DeKalb County Police Officer David Rose, who gave his life to stop the gunfire attack on the CDC on August 8th. Officer Rose was a veteran. He was a husband and the father of 2 children. Officer Rose's widow, whom I visited, is expecting their 3rd child. I'd like Officer Rose's family to know that he remains in our prayers and that he will continue to be in our thoughts. Let me start with the big picture. Under President Trump's leadership, we at HHS are enacting a once-in-a-generation shift from a sick care system to a true healthcare system that tackles the root causes of chronic disease. Chronic diseases reach crisis proportions in our country. And finally, we have an administration that is taking action. The Maha Report assessment, which the White House released in May, was the first government analysis of the key drivers of childhood chronic disease: ultra-processed foods, chemical exposures, physical inactivity, and over-medicalization. This month, we will follow with the Maha Report strategy, the Trump administration's solution for addressing each cause. At HHS, we haven't just been writing reports. We have been the busiest, most proactive administration in HHS history. In just half a year, we've taken on food dyes, baby formula contamination, the grass loophole, fluoride in our drinking water, gas station heroin, electronic cigarettes, drug prices, prior authorization, information blocking.
The committee will come to order.
Oh my God.
I apologize to you for that outburst, Secretary Kennedy. I would notify everyone else in the audience. Comments from the audience are inappropriate. If there are any further disruptions, the committee will recess until the police can restore order. Mr. Secretary, please proceed.
As I was saying, prior authorization, information blocking, and healthcare interoperability. We're ending gain-of-function research, child mutilation, and reducing animal testing. We are addressing cell phone use in schools.
You know, there was a lady in a wheelchair protesting RFK who wants to make her healthier. I just, isn't that weird?
But it's weird because what it is, it's a mind virus, man. You know, I mean, it's like they're infecting you. Like, you listen to people on TV and you're told and trained as a child to like pay attention to what you hear on TV. And unfortunately people do, and it makes them so crazy. And they all of a sudden they think that everything, they think that it's like the Chicken Little story, right? Sky is falling, the sky is falling. The sky really never falls.
Yeah.
But in your reality, like you're trained, you know, this is the same with the psychological operations. Scam Blondie, bro, the sky's falling. Epstein, sky's falling. Israel, sky's falling. Blah, 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 blah. Panicans, okay? It's effectively mind control. That's what it is.
It is. Back to RFK Jr., the Honorable RFK Jr.
Schools, excessive screen time for youth, the lack of nutrition education in our medical schools, sickle cell anemia, hepatitis C, the East Palestine chemical spill, and many, many others. At FDA, we are now on track to approve more drugs this year than at any time in history. I'm also proud to say that HHS under President Trump is doing more with less. We have taken measures to fight waste, fraud, and abuse. Just by eliminating duplicative enrollments in CMS, we are saving taxpayers $14 billion a year. Meanwhile, we are expanding access for people who need it. We are ending racist diversity, equity, and inclusion practices and instead focusing on aiding low-income and vulnerable families, regardless of their race, which was the original intent of Title X. We're also pouring $1 billion into Head Start and the Administration for Children and Families. Compassion need not be the casualty of efficiency. I'd like to highlight some issues that have not gotten media attention. First, we are doing our part to fulfill the President's commitment to stop human trafficking, especially of children. We inherited a terrible humanitarian crisis from the previous administration with its open border policies, which allowed the appalling loss of 476,000 unaccompanied children. We have implemented policies now to ensure that appalling tragedy can never happen again. We have knocked on 82,000 doors and located 22,000 of those children. I promise you that we will do more in the next 3 years. We are also addressing the disastrous health conditions in tribal communities on Native American reservations. I've met face to face with tribal leaders in dozens of communities and tribes in Alaska, Arizona, Idaho, New Mexico, and elsewhere. And I look forward to making HHS resources more available to those communities. One of the most significant initiatives under President Trump is the Rural Health Transformation Fund, part of the president's big, beautiful bill, which will provide the greatest investment of federal money into rural health care in history. Finally, I would like to address the recent shakeups at CDC. These changes were absolutely necessary adjustments to restore the agency to its role as the world's gold standard public health agency with the central mission of protecting Americans from infectious disease. CDC failed that responsibility miserably during COVID, when its disastrous and nonsensical policies destroyed small businesses, violated civil liberties, closed our schools, caused generational damage in doing so, massed infants with no science, and heightened economic inequality. And yet all those oppressive and unscientific interventions failed to do anything about the disease itself. America is home to 4.2% of the world's population, yet we had nearly 20% of the COVID deaths. We literally did worse than any country in the world. And the people at CDC who oversaw that process, who put masks on our children, who closed our schools, are the people who will be leaving. And that's why we need bold, competent, and creative new leadership at CDC. People able and willing to chart a new course. As my father once said, progress is a nice word, but change is its motivator, and change has its enemies. That's why we need new blood at CDC. That's also why it's imperative that we remove officials with conflicts of interest and catastrophically bad judgment and political agendas. We need unbiased, politics-free.
I think this right here, I think that I was sitting here waiting to hear this. This is 109,000 million% what we need to hear. What have we been watching go on? This is pre-COVID. A number of you that have been paying attention saw this for decades now. Oh, well, the person that serves at the White House is now the CDC person. And then the person at the CDC is now on the board at Pfizer. And then the person that's at Pfizer is now back in the White House. Dun, dun, dun. Then the next person, then it's a lobbyist for here. Then he's in the CDC. Then he's in Pfizer. Then he's in the White House. That type of corruption is what we all want to go away. You don't get to have your inside guy, if you're a pharmaceutical company, at the head of the CDC or in there making policy. It's exactly the same thing that we were seeing whenever we realized that the FBI and such had sent James Baker over to be the lawyer at Twitter. Okay, it's no different. This is their modus operandi. This is the way that they operate. This is the way that your systems get infiltrated with clowns, and the clowns pretend like that they're the victim as soon as you criticize them. They don't stand up and say, no, I'm doing what I did because of this, and it makes sense for me to do it because of this, and this. They don't do that. What they do is they start attacking you for pointing out their ineffectiveness. They start attacking you because you're saying that they're derelict in their duty, and there's something, you are the criminal because you are pointing it out. That right there is what I want to stop. And It sounded to me like, Jeff, he was saying, we're putting an end to that.
It's a literal circle jerk.
It is a big circle jerk.
Or a circular firing squad on the health of the American people. Because you know what, guys? These people don't have your best interest. They are profits over people, okay? That's why you can't sue them. I mean, make it so we can sue them again, okay? The government, you pay for bad pharmaceutical drugs or shots or damage. The American people pay for that? Why?
Good point.
All right, here we go.
Transparent, evidence-based science in the public interest. Those are the guiding principles behind the changes at the CDC, and that is what you can expect all across our agency for the next 3 years.
Press 47 if you voted for that.
I did.
Thank you
Put
very
that
much.
in your pipe and smoke it, is what he said.
And one of the first things I'd like to talk to you about is actually something that is under the auspices of CMS, and I spoke with Dr. Oz last night about this. I'm sure you're very familiar with it, though. And that is that in the One Big Beautiful Bill, there's a lot of attacks right now going on publicly about hospitals are in trouble. And the blame for that is placed on the bill, even though the bill hasn't even been implemented yet. The fact is, this committee held hearings on the troubles that rural hospitals are facing in the United States before the passage of the One Big Beautiful Bill. They've been facing difficulties in rural America for a number of years now. And the bill, the One Big Beautiful Bill, contained a rural health transformation program, which I would just like to ask you to comment on. This is that program which allocated $50 billion over the next 5 years to our rural community hospitals in the United States to help them deal with some of the financial crises that they are facing and transition to more stability. Could you comment on that program that is in the One Big Beautiful Bill?
Yeah, Senator, one of President Trump's campaign promises and one of the principal preoccupations, not only of Republican senators when I did my confirmation hearing, but also almost equally among Democratic senators, with this crisis in rural health. We've had 120 rural hospitals close over the past 10 years. These institutions are not just delivering health access to rural Americans, but they are economic centers, they are cultural centers for those communities. They are often the largest employer. They are the highest paying jobs, and they are the centerpiece for those communities. So when they die, the communities collapse. And President Trump promised to do something about that, and he has delivered on that promise. Right now, we spend about 6% of Medicaid funding is sent to rural hospitals, a very, very tiny slice, and that's one of the reasons they're in trouble. President Trump has now allocated through the One Big Beautiful Bill $50 billion, so $10 billion a year over the next 5 years. What we give to rural hospitals, that 6% represents $19 billion a year. So we're increasing that by $10 billion. So we're infusing more than 50% increase in the amount of money that is going to rural communities over the next 5 years. There's never been anything like that in history. It is the biggest investment, and it should stem this hemorrhage.
Well, thank you. I appreciate your giving clarity to that, because it is frustrating to see these continuous allegations that the difficulties that our rural hospitals are facing all were created in the last few months when we passed a bill, when we've been holding hearings in this committee about these problems. And in the bill that we passed, we gave a $50 billion boost to, as you indicated, increase by 50% the federal support for our community rural hospitals in the United States. And I think that the hospital owners understand that. They recognize this support. In fact, they are coming they're coming together very carefully with Dr. Oz to work on the rollout of this program so that we can see this boost and this support that is coming. Just another one of the disagreements we have about what really was in the One Big Beautiful Bill. So I appreciate you commenting on that. In the last minute and 10 seconds that I have with you, could you just quickly talk once again about the broad issue of making America healthy again in terms of our aim to change the healthcare system's focus from a reactive symptom management model to one that focuses on lifestyle choices and the root causes of chronic disease?
Yes, Senator, this morning I got the latest numbers from CDC that 76.4% of Americans now have a chronic disease. This is stunning. When my uncle was president, it was 11%. 1950, it was 3%. Today, it's 76.4%. 8 out of 10 of our kids cannot qualify for military service. This is a national security issue. When my uncle was president, we spent $0 on chronic disease. Today, we spend $1.3 trillion. It's the biggest cause, it's increasing. And all of the arguments that Republicans and Democrats have about single payer, Obamacare, or with the various ways of allocate the health dollars, they're all like rearranging deck chairs on the Titanic. If we don't end this chronic disease, we are the sickest country in the world. That's why we have to fire people at CDC. They did not do their job. This was their job to keep us healthy.
Thank you,
And
Mr.
I need to fire some of those people to make sure this doesn't happen again.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. I have to cut
Music to my ears. He's basically going to leave that meeting and go fire people. Ha ha. Let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it some more, because that's exactly what needs to be done, because this is exactly what the problem is. Everything in your medical establishment is based on making the sick person comfortable. Nothing at all is oriented to tell them what made them sick to begin with or how they could correct it going forward. 0.0 of our medical establishment focuses on that. It's all about making you comfortable. It's all about keeping you eating the crap. It's all about keeping you sitting there on your couch doing absolutely nothing and pretending like some sort of pill is going to fix you. My mother was caught in that complete, absolute back and forth ping pong game of thinking that someone was going to do it for her. That is not the truth. It's your health. It doesn't belong to the government. It's your responsibility to learn what's wrong with you and to try to mitigate it with your physician, not sit there and listen to them like there's some sort of Lord on high.
Yeah. And exactly, what I voted for was right there. Okay. I voted for exactly what he's saying. That I think we all did. And I saw somebody here as well come in and say, I take back all the things that was said about RFK Jr. And by the way, that heavy breathing was RFK Jr. He's got an issue with his vocal cords. We all know that. So just understand that was on the tape there. But, Herbie Outlaw, I think it was, came in here and said, I'm sorry for all the things that I've said about RFK Jr. Look, we all did. We followed Trump's lead. Trump was out there saying stuff about RFK Jr. Okay, so we did too. And then we dug deeper and wow. And now he's part of the administration. And we're going to allow him to do what we want him to do under the guise or under the tutelage and leadership of Donald J. Trump. He's doing what he's supposed to be doing, in my opinion, Shitty.
And the issue that I had with RFK was that he was pointing at Donald Trump and acting like what Donald Trump was doing wasn't legitimate. Now what he's doing is recognizing that Donald Trump is the one that has unleashed him to do the legitimate thing. That's a clear difference, because RFK realized that Trump wasn't what everybody was telling him Trump was. That's growth. That's much like what we did here. Whenever we figured out certain things, we didn't continue to pretend like we didn't figure those things out. That would be called grifting.
That's right.
If we figured something out about somebody and decided that, oh, no, we don't need to talk to you guys about it, even though that we don't trust them, we're going to keep trying to sell them to everybody else. That is the grift.
That's it. Real quick, Shay, let's do this because we got some sponsors today, and it's the Hey Football Fanatics. Are you ready for some primetime NFL action? Tune in to Westwood One for all the gridiron glory you crave, from jaw-dropping touchdowns to game-changing plays. Don't miss a single moment of excitement. Catch every snap, every tackle, every victory on Westwood One. You can listen to NFL on NFL app, on Westwood One Sports app, or on WestwoodOneSports.com via Westwood One station streams, or by asking Alexa to open Westwood One Sports. If it's the NFL, it's on Westwood One. Thank you, guys. All right, so let's go ahead and just kind of go through some of the highlights that we've got here.
Yep.
While we're still on this topic, but I felt that it was really good to go over this and watch some of the pharmaceutical sponsored politicians going against what we want to do, is just make America healthy again, Shady. We want our kids to be healthy. We want our seniors to be healthy. I want to be healthy. You want to be healthy. Don't you all want to be healthy? And it's not working, okay? We are the sickest country damn near in the entire world. Why is that? Because we're doing great?
One thing that I heard him say, just to throw this out there real quick, that I found that was interesting. He talked about like the amount of drug approvals that they've been able to get done within the last few months. Yeah. Well, that's interesting to me, because what I know to be true is that anybody that's actually coming across something that's functional or that's good or that helps some sort of systemic problem that a human being has a very, very tough time getting it through the meat grinder of approval from the CDC, because they have this whole gatekeeping layer, and then they don't want your product to work better than the guy's product that they've already got on the shelf. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so people can't get this stuff approved. So RFK saying that they're doing drug approvals is a very, very good thing, because all of these things that are out there currently that are being served to you for these different blood pressure or blood thinning or whatever the hell the symptom or the problem is, most of the time they don't really work because it's a scam. So it'd be interesting to know that if some of these companies that actually, some of these drugs that do work, they could help people, could get approved. Wow, what a concept that might be.
That's right. Real quick, we got a couple of donations. I missed a couple. I'm sorry. Thank you for the red castles. We got a lot of naked people in there, so thank you very much. Finn is still naked. I don't know, guys. We need to put some clothes on that guy.
You don't want that.
Yeah. Trust 1961 says, thank you for always pushing back the darkness and bringing in the light or the truth. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Trust 1961. Keck Productions, our boy Jeremy. Best show showing you what's really going on. Thank you, Keck Productions. That's a $25 Rumble rant. Appreciate that. So let's kind of, I mean, you know, it's oh God!
Aren't you guys encouraged? Isn't that encouraging? That what you got to see right there within that hour, you got to see the pushback, you got to see the virtue signal, you got to see the BS, you got to see, oh my goodness, how do they protect the establishment? Even we're starting to see some of the Republican people breaking down and realizing that, wait a minute, I've been listening to people that I thought had my best interest at heart that don't. And once you realize that the people you thought had your best interest at heart don't, it changes you.
And, you know, just being a normal person, Shady, a normal person. If I am being paid by the pharmaceutical to the tune of $1 million, you're going to act like that. I mean, let's take off our, you know, these people are working for you hats and realize who they're really working for.
Exactly.
I mean, my God. Rev Rob, thank you for the tip. Saying, I think you thank Shady Groove for a rant. Thank you very much, Rev Rob, and the 5 subscriptions to the MG Show. 17 pages for truth. Mickey B and E-Boyle, all 1 subscription each. Getting these people with clothes on, okay? Because we cannot have the nakedness. All right, check it out.
An expense and scarcity that you're creating as a result of your ideology. I think it's critical for you to share the evidence that this panel will rely on. Will you give the American people 6 months or 6 weeks in advance the record that they're going to rely on to make these decisions? Will you make it transparent for the American people?
All the evidence is transparent.
Will you make it in advance transparent for the American people so they can comment on it?
All the evidence is transparent for the first time in history, and you were never there complaining when the pharmaceutical companies were picking those people and then running their products through with no safety testing.
You can characterize it any way you want.
Does anybody know who that guy is? By the way, I can't see who this guy is.
I quoted them today. What I said was accurate. What you said were lies. You described people
Senator,
moving the Titanic.
Are you saying that a mRNA vaccine has never been associated with myocarditis or pericarditis in teenagers?
I am simply.
Is that what you're trying to tell us?
I am simply trying to say that the people that you have put on that panel, after firing the entire.
You're evading the question.
No, I'm asking the questions here,
You're
Mr.
evading
Kennedy.
that question.
I'm asking the questions,
I
Mr.
asked
Kennedy.
you a question.
I'm asking the questions for Mr. Kennedy on behalf of parents and schools and teachers all over the United States of America who deserve so much better than your leadership. That's what this conversation is about, Mr. Chairman.
Senator, they deserve the truth, and that's what we're going to give them for the first time in the history of that agency.
Wow. So that was Bennett. And I'm just trying to see how much he's gotten. $116,000 in 2024. 116,000, but still,
just in
guys.
2024.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I'm not that's a lot of money. And where's he at? Colorado?
Yep. Thank you, guys.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah. Go, Bobby, go is right. I mean, this is, you know, myocarditis. We even talked about this but Facebook, you censored us because we're trying to help people realize that it's going to affect your heart.
They're probably censoring us again.
Yeah.
Imagine they will.
Imagine they will, Shady. You know, so we're going to continue some of this as well. We got some other stuff too. We got Xi and Putin. Putin is talking about organ harvesting and organ transplants to live forever. Immortality. Boy, isn't that what dictators would want to do, Shady Groove? And do you think that that was done on purpose?
Dictators would excise Rosie O'Donnell.
And we'll be right back after these beautiful boom messages.
Hello to all of you beautiful patriots out there.
First of all, let me just thank you all for supporting this show. We wouldn't be here without you. But I have a huge announcement regarding donations.
It has come to our attention that using the Rumble app is taking an additional 30% of your donation to the show.
Let me explain. According to our TOS, Rumble takes 20% of all donations made through the web browser.
And that's a 20%. It's a good deal if you consider other platforms like YouTube and such.
There is a hidden cost that we just found out. For example, we received the generous $500 donation from Spill Tea, and thank you so much for that, from the Rumble app on Apple. So Rumble took 20%, and Apple took an additional 30%. We brought that to Rumble, and they said, well, Rumble's take of tips and donations is 20%. That's if the transaction is done through the web browser. If using the Android or iOS app, it's an additional 30% collected by those platforms.
So please use the web browser to make your donations to the show and avoid the hidden fees by Apple and Android.
That's right. You can also support us at GiveSendGo/HelpMGShow, mg.show/donate. We have PayPal and Cash App. Both are at RealMGShow or $RealMGShow. Please help us out. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Because people, for the most part, are mindless sheep. The Illuminati are absolutely correct. I have discovered this. It has been one of the greatest disappointments of my life to discover that most people, the people that I have been battling for, the people that I have laid my life down for you can be sure that when the New World Order comes into power, my life is forfeit for the work that I have done. It has been the greatest disappointment to find out that they are absolutely right about most of what they call the masses. Whenever you hear somebody use that term, they're usually one of them. They're nothing but cattle, sheep, mindless animals, steaks on the table and beasts of burden by choice and consent. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it's true. It's because from the beginning people are taught to be stupid. Taught not to think, not to challenge. Taught not to ask questions. You can't even figure out what's going on in your own neighborhood, much less how to stop this New World Order or what to do about it. And so many of you are so absolutely ignorant and stupid. You see, I'm sick of it, folks. You're not going to win anything. You're not going to escape anything, and you're not going to get liberty back. Not at all. You're too stupid to do it. You're too ignorant to do it. You've got too many agendas of your own, most of which are to keep your little fantasies going around you so that you never have to look at the truth and so that you never have to be blamed for anything. But the truth is, if you want to know what's wrong with this country, ladies and gentlemen, go look in the mirror. Go look in the mirror. And you will see exactly what's wrong with the United States of America staring at you in the glass. And I'm just sick to death of it. I am so sick of the lies and the hypocrisy and the bullshit and the manipulations. And you think that you're going to create a world of liberty and freedom? No, these people are going to enslave you because you must be enslaved, because you've got to be controlled, because you can't control yourselves. You can't decide upon the truth. I'm beginning to have a much greater respect for the Illuminati than I ever have in the past. You know, they've been telling me for years, Bill, these people will spit on you. We know that you're telling them the truth. But they don't want to hear the truth, and that's why they have to be controlled and manipulated and led to the slaughter. And I always said in my stupidity, no, you're wrong. You see, you've been hiding the truth from them. All you have to do is show them the truth, and things will be better. It will change. We'll have a good world, peace on earth. Nobody will have to kill anybody again. We can live in freedom and liberty, responsible with the truth. Boy, what a fool I have been all these years.
Wow. We're winning, guys. Welcome back to the MG show.
Boy, does that echo reality.
You know, it does. And, I just want to read, for now, we see only a reflection as in a mirror. When then we shall see a face to face. Now I know in part that I shall know fully, even as I am fully known. I love that. God bless you guys. Very inspiring. Yeah. Thank you guys very much. This is biblical. I mean, this is messing with your DNA, guys. That's exactly what these pharmaceutical companies want to do. Also, real quick, DQ sent over $730,000. Michael Bennett, Democrat of Colorado, has received from overall pharmaceutical health products in the industry over his Senate career. Poussin also sent this into chat. Let me just see if I can find it. Oh my gosh, it just moved. Bennett's campaign received funds from health-related PACs consistent with the industry's pattern of targeting senators on key committees. Imagine that, Shady.
Yeah, imagine that. The ones that have the power.
Yeah. Wow.
And the circular, you talk about the circular firing squad. Effectively, that's what it is. But now we have a circular firing squad that's a little bit different. Now we're actually getting rid of the people that are not doing their jobs. And that is why, in my opinion, that is why you're seeing so much animation from these people, because they're under their bottom line connected to how much they're going to get the next time that they go around this circle of getting elected has to do with these people that they have in specific places within the CDC and these other government organizations. This is how the money flows. I think that we're getting ready to see one of the smallest amount of revenue ever taken in by the Democrat Party in history coming up in 2026, because right now they already don't even have $20 million in their coffers. They can't get anybody to give them money. And all of these different politicians out there that are doing their bidding, they do their bidding every day so that at the end of the day, when it comes time for election, they put their hands out. They say, okay, I did my work. Now hand me my cash. Well, there's not going to be any cash this time. That's going to create an absolutely interesting dynamic for us to witness.
That's right. Let's keep kind of going over some of these, short clips with RFK, basically slapping down the demons. The Democrat Party is a giant hoax, guys. Have you guys not figured it out yet? Even my Democrat friends would want their children healthy.
You would think.
At least the ones I know.
But, we did watch a bunch of them take their children to get shots.
No, I did.
A lot.
A lot. Here we go.
Tax credits?
Yes.
Well, the Democrats had two chances to make them permanent, and they didn't. And they didn't for a reason.
We're the ones who delivered it. So I'm just asking, yes or no, do you want to do something about this? Yes.
I want to fix the system, and that's what we're doing, fixing systematically to make premiums lower. That's what President Trump wants to do.
Do you think the women on the steps of the Capitol were a hoax yesterday?
I don't know about any women on the steps of the Capitol.
The women who were talking about Epstein, do you think they were a hoax yesterday?
Do I think they were?
Do you think they were perpetrating a hoax yesterday?
Perpetuating a hoax?
Yeah.
I have no idea what they were saying. This is the first time hearing about it.
You're hearing about the women on the Capitol steps saying that they believe that the Epstein.
It has nothing to do with what we're talking about, Miss Cantwell.
That's the first you're hearing about it. What I'm saying is you are perpetrating hoaxes.
Oh. Huh? What the are these
Yeah,
people
that was
talking about?
I have no idea what the context of that clip was. Good Lord.
Well, it was this Maria Cantwell who's received a lot of money from lobbyists. Do we have the the donations there for her? Anybody in chat got those yet? Wow. All right. So, this is what we're dealing with. These are the kind of dumb people. These people are stupid. People don't realize that the Trump administration is trying to get Bill Clinton's grand jury testimony unsealed, but a Bill Clinton judge denied it.
All the judges so far have denied it. Just like we said, we told you right here on this show, whenever all this stuff started to happen, that all these cases are sealed, that the clients and the victims have agreed to the case being sealed due to payouts that have occurred and to things that were said. They've made an agreement. So the judge will stick by those agreements. That's how come we knew that General Flynn and all these nuts were virtue signaling, because they don't understand exactly how anything goes. Now you have General Flynn out there supporting Gloria Allred. You had Ivan Raiklin on the ground yesterday supporting Marjorie Taylor Greene and Thomas Massie. These people are not on your side.
That's right. General Flynn just posted yesterday that the Epstein issue is not going away like a true good Democrat lapdog.
He's basically saying that the Epstein thing is now the gum on the bottom of Trump's shoe.
Yeah, exactly right. A little over 200,000 in 2024 DQ. Miss Cantwell, Senator Maria Cantwell, Washington, over 200,000 just in 2024.
That's
Wow.
what's talking.
Wow. All right, so now we got Maggie Hassan, guys. Let's see what she does. Look up her pharmaceutical donations. This is what we do, guys. We do live digs together. Check it out.
Those parameters, you did it behind closed doors.
No, the data is all public.
Now parents who decide that they do want their children to have
You're just
COVID
making
vaccine
stuff up, Senator.
I'm not
You're
making
just
stuff.
making stuff up.
Sometimes when you make an accusation, it's kind of a confession, Mr. Kennedy. So let's just go with this. So here's what's going to happen. To Senator Warner's point, to the parents who are concerned all around the country, to people who want to get the COVID vaccine this fall, even if they're under 65, because the boosters have worked, there's been much less serious disease. People do not have the same level of threat and risk from COVID that they used to because of these vaccines. People who want to exercise their freedom of choice are being denied that.
No, they aren't. Everybody can get the vaccine.
Because you are citing data that you won't produce to the public.
You're just
and you are rejecting
You're
science.
making things up to scare people, and it's a lie.
With respect, I do not think I'm the one making things.
You are lying
Mr. Chair.
right now, Senator.
Called her a liar to the face. And yes, the Cantwell that we just talked about, Open Secrets reports, pharmaceutical health products industry contributed $89 million to that chick, with 170% increase since 2012. Cantwell likely received 50 to 150,000 from pharmaceutical PACs and employees given her Commerce Committee. This lady right here, Shady Grove, has received Senator Maggie Hassan. Do we have that there? But large contributions, $24 million. Who would give that lady $24 million to talk utter bullshit?
I guarantee you, go look at her history of work, and she will be somewhere associated with one of the government organizations or one of the pharmaceutical companies. That's the reason that she gets more. The people that get more have more clout. They have more connections, and so they are being encouraged to run again.
Yeah, I mean, these guys are, these are not your friends. These people don't care about your health. It seems like RFK cares about your health. It seems like Trump cares about your health, right?
They're the ones fighting for you.
Yeah.
They're the ones fighting against this nonsense. If you think that the people that are standing up there grilling RFK are the people that really have your best interest at heart, you believe that the government is actually there to protect you.
So Hassan has over 80,000 in 2024 from pharma. Wow. Follow the money, guys. Follow the money. They don't care about your health, okay? They care about their money.
They care about getting reelected and having power.
Amen. Here we go.
This
is a boom, guys. Here we go.
Of information of HHS. My
Ron Johnson.
Now over 8 million pages of information. Just in the first tranche, by the way, what we discovered is that the CDC, somebody in the federal health agencies, this is interagency communication, hid the signal. They admitted there was a signal on myocarditis, and they hid it. They didn't warn the public. They didn't warn doctors. So that's just one instance of corruption and lies told by the CDC. We've got a lot of others we'll be rolling out, okay? So we held our first hearing and permanent subcommittee investigation on that hiding of the signal myocarditis. We've heard a lot of studies, okay? As I've looked into science, it's been thoroughly corrupted. Here's data, and I'd like to enter this sheet into the record. I've been publishing this chart for, since really early 2021, when I'm...
As has the MG show, guys. This is VAERS,
100%.
the drug adverse event comparison, guys. And they were like calling us conspiracy, and they threw us off Facebook for reporting real numbers, guys.
We had to scroll on our show for a number of weeks.
Yep.
on, for example, talk radio shows, and they talk about this, they get deplatformed, or they were.
Yep.
That's right. Did you hear that, Shady?
I did.
Wow.
Now let's have some recompense for it.
Yeah.
All the censorship in the Biden administration. Here's the facts. The VAERS system that was touted in October of 2020, this great safety surveillance system on COVID. A few months later, when they didn't like the results, they started denigrating their own system. But VAERS shows that there have been 38,742 deaths reported on VAERS worldwide associated with the COVID vaccine. 38,742. 9,252 of those deaths occurred on the day of vaccination within 1 or 2 days. Again, I agree with you. Nobody knows how many COVID deaths were because the information was completely corrupted. Nobody knows how many lives were saved by the COVID. Yeah, I think most people, okay, if you're vulnerable, raise your antibodies, reverse severity, fine. There's not any good study on that. There's just information out there, just claims being made.
100% effective.
Evidence. And certainly what I've been advocating for are the injection injured, the childhood vaccine injured. We're going to be holding a hearing next Tuesday on a study done by a high integrity healthcare facility that shows that actually looked at vaccinated versus unvaccinated, very high quality study. I'm not going to steal the thunder of Aaron Seary, who's going to be testifying on this. I think you're aware of the study that shows the vaccinated population far more prone to chronic illness than people completely unexposed to vaccines. That is just one example of how science has been corrupted by the way, the study was conducted, and when they conducted this, oh no matter what the results are, we're going to release this. They got the results in 2000. It is yet to be released. We're going to enter that in the record on Tuesday. Do you want to just talk about what you've witnessed in terms of the capture of the agencies that you're now in charge of, the corruption of science, which I believe you just said, that is almost your number one goal, right, is try to bring integrity and credibility back to science, which has been corrupted by the people who pay for it, by federal health agencies being captured by pharmaceutical industries, by big pharma, by big food. Just, I want to give you, I'm sorry, just the last minute to, first of all, defend yourself, but talk about the corruption of science that you're having to deal with and trying to correct.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just tell you one example, and I could sit here and give you thousands. But in 2002, CDC did an internal study of Atlanta, Fulton County, Georgia children, and looked at children who got the MMR vaccine on time and compared those to kids who got them later. So in other words, kids who got them before 36 months and kids who got them afterward. The data from that study showed that Black boys who got the vaccine on time had a 260% greater chance of getting an autism diagnosis than children who waited. The chief scientist on that, Dr. William Thompson, the senior vaccine safety scientist at CDC, was ordered to come into a room with 4 other co-authors by his boss, Frank DeStefano, who's the head of the immunization safety branch, and ordered to destroy that data. And then they published it without that fact. So you know that story, I know that story, and you know of hundreds of stories like that. It happens all the time. We are being lied to by these agencies, and we're going to change that right now.
The letter I received from the abstract business. It would be out of business because of the 50 employee mandate. It's going to be out of business. I just want to enter that in record as well.
Without objection. The committee will take a 5-minute quick break here just to allow just a moment.
All right, so junk science, guys. They lied to you. They said it was 90%, then 100% effective. They lied. Barack Hussein Obama was actually on camera saying that you guys were the test for COVID and laughing about it. People that took the vaccines were actually a test. You know, you guys were like a petri dish. Do you guys realize that the government under Joe Biden made you guys a petri dish for testing for a possible dangerous bioweapon, Shady?
Yeah, and then continue to lie as the evidence comes out. And like right there, they would have they would scream that he's they're going to scream that he's a racist for talking about that data because that black children are more susceptible. That is something that has been shown in the science in a number of different areas relative to this vaccine. But everybody wants to pretend like that's somehow racist. It's not racist to observe outcomes of experiments, guys. It doesn't really matter what the outcome is. No observation could be, it's racist to throw the data out, right? It's racist to not tell the black community that is the study. It's like everything is so absolutely inverted, and it all boils down to what we've been talking about here is like whose palm is getting greased, which is the corrupt politician that's standing at the door and letting it come in as they take the money. That politician is supposed to be not letting the corruption in, but for a fee, they allow the corruption to pass.
Yeah. I mean, and by the way, where did it go? C-Stave said, let's just talk about COVID to rig the vote. Was it about the virus or the election? We were talked about that. Talked about that a lot, and Q did too, Shady Grove.
We sure did. And it was about the election.
Yeah.
And it was about stopping Donald Trump. And then whenever that didn't work, it was about creating an optic that generated his whole base as violent so that they could spend 4 years screaming and yelling that you're violent so that he could never become the president again. That also didn't work.
Wow, guys, it's crazy. Let me see. I'm just trying to find something real quick. If I can find it. I'm just trying to find Biden, Obama, Fauci, celebs, joined forces to get the jab, guys, okay? You didn't see Trump doing it. You saw Barack Hussein Obama, Fauci, and celebrities do it, okay? Let me just, not responding. Oh, geez. Oops. Okay, so I have to just reboot that. But I was trying to find the clip of Obama actually talking about the vaccine real quick. I'm just trying to see if I can find it, but it's going to be hard to find with all this.
That's okay.
Yeah. Obama joined Dr. Fauci to visit school vaccination sites, guys. I mean, this is so disgusting. Okay, here we go. Check it out.
And yet, despite the fact that we've now essentially clinically tested the vaccine on billions of people worldwide.
Let me just rewind that one more time, okay?
Yeah.
And yet, despite the fact that we've now essentially clinically tested the vaccine on billions of people worldwide, around 1 in 5 Americans is still willing to put themselves at risk and put their families at risk rather than get vaccinated.
Yeah, that's right.
People are dying.
No, they're not. They're dying from the vaccine. I didn't die. Did you die? Did you die, Shady?
I didn't. But do you believe that concern is real? What is he really concerned about? Because look at this thing. Just see what you see there. What you see there is you do see genuine concern. But what is he concerned about? Is he really concerned about the people that didn't take the vaccine? Or is he concerned about what's going to happen because those people didn't take the vaccine? Because what has happened is the amount of people that didn't take the vaccine have became effectively a control group within the experiment. In other words, they didn't die. If the non-vaccinated don't die, then my narrative that if you don't get a vaccine, you're going to die doesn't work, does it? Yeah. See, it proves he knows that he's wrong. He knows that he's lying. He knows that he's covering up for a corrupt establishment that is intent on controlling you, and they have absolutely no desire whatsoever to make you healthy, better, or informed.
Are we alive, Shady?
We are alive.
Yes, sir. We're alive and healthy. We're alive and kicking. All right,
More
so
eyebrows.
now we got Pocahontas, who is the queen. Somebody find out how much Pocahontas has been given by the pharmaceutical agency.
Billions.
Oh, boy. Here we go. Check it out.
Anybody can get it.
Anybody. So you're saying that is now the official rule of HHS. Anybody is eligible to get a booster by just walking into the pharmacy.
It's not recommended for healthy people.
No. If you don't recommend, then the consequence of that in many states is that you can't walk into a pharmacy and get one. It means insurance companies don't have to cover the $200 or so cost. As Senator Dr. Cassidy said, you are effectively denying people vaccines.
We're not going to recommend a product for which there's no clinical data for that indication. Is that what I should be doing?
What you should be doing is honoring your promise that you made when you were looking to get confirmed in this job.
You're going like this.
And that is, you promised that you would not take away vaccines from anyone who wanted them. You just changed the classification of the COVID vaccine.
I'm not taking them away from people, Senator.
It takes it away if you can't get it from your pharmacist.
Well, most Americans are going to be able to get it from their pharmacy for free. Most Americans will be able to get it from their pharmacy for free.
The question is, everyone who wants it, that was your promise.
No, I didn't. I never promised that I was going to recommend products with which there is no indication.
When you said...
And I know you've taken $855,000 from pharmaceutical companies.
Did you hold up a big sign saying that you were lying?
Did you hold up a big sign saying that you got $855,000 from the pharmaceutical agency?
Dude, we need to start treating these politicians like NASCAR.
Yeah.
Like you can't go into you gotta
Pfizer.
You gotta have Pfizer written there. You gotta have like Hormel chili on one side. Right. You know, it's like whatever it is, that kind of BS that you're pimping, it needs to be stitched onto your clothing so that we can freaking see what you really represent.
Washington Redskins. Oh.
No, she would not be for that.
When you said that, because you are the one who said you would not take them away. Now, Senator Kennedy,
I'm not taking them away from anybody.
Secretary,
you want me to indicate a product for which there is no clinical data?
Senator,
is that what you want?
Secretary Kennedy, you said you wouldn't, and now you did.
I'm not taking them away. Everybody can get access to them.
No, they can't walk into a pharmacy the way they could last month and get access.
It depends on the state. It depends on the states.
A year ago,
but they can still get it. Everybody can get it. Everybody can get it, Senator.
So look, let's move on. You clearly are taking away vaccines. I've seen.
So she proved her point in her own mind. That bird brain should not be anywhere near your government, guys.
What the hell kind of, like, do you think that she like uses that with her husband? Can you imagine like trying to argue with that lady? Like you're like, woo, Lord have mercy. You say, yes, dear, and you move on.
Or not, because that could create another fight with her as well.
Ooh, Lord have mercy.
Oh my God. Okay, so time for Crazy Bernie to retire. He's also, what, $1 million or more from the pharma agencies, guys?
What's the over-under? It's like 900,000.
Here we go.
Head of CDC went to you. You asked her, are you a trustworthy person? And she said, no, I am not a trustworthy person.
She didn't say, no, I'm not a trustworthy person. She said, no. I'm giving a quote.
And I asked her twice. No, 1 second. And you're also repeating now that she is a liar, correct? What you wrote in the Wall Street Journal.
If she wrote that I fired her because she refused to sign on in advance for the ACIP committee, no, that's not accurate.
Sorry, you're calling her a liar, and I look forward to her coming before the Help Committee, maybe this committee as well. All right, Mr. Secretary, I've got a bunch of questions. Appreciate brevity in answering it. So-called beautiful bill threw 15 million Americans off of health care, substantially raised premiums, and is going to have a terrible impact on nursing homes, community health centers, rural hospitals all over America. Very briefly, is that really making America healthy again?
It's going to have it's going to be the biggest infusion of federal dollars into rural health care in American history.
Yeah, you know why? Because you're cutting $150 billion for rural hospitals. You're putting $50 billion back. That's not an infusion. That's a loss of $100 billion. All right, next question. President Trump, who I don't usually agree with, called COVID vaccines, quote, one of the greatest miracles in the history of modern day medicine that saved tens of millions of lives worldwide. Scientific community agrees with Trump. Lancet study found that it prevented almost 20 million deaths during their first year of use. Secretary Kennedy, are President Trump and the medical community right? Or do you still believe that the COVID vaccine was, quote, the deadliest vaccine ever made?
No, first of all, I didn't say that. I said that in terms of affairs reports a while ago. I said today, I think that President Trump should get the Nobel Prize.
So who's right? Is Trump in the medical community right, or are you right?
President Trump did an extraordinary piece of leadership.
Is he right or wrong? Did COVID save millions of lives?
As I said, he got Americans back to work. At that time, that particular vaccine was perfectly matched to the virus that was circulating then. And I have no idea how many lives it saved, but it saved quite a few.
You know, what I find a little bit weird in this discussion, I'm hearing it over and over again this morning, Mr. Chairman, is we've got the entire medical community on one side. You got the AMA representing hundreds of thousands of doctors, the American Academy of Pediatrics,
representing Rockefeller,
the American Public Health Association,
represents the Rockefeller. All of these organizations that he's touting right now are embedded organizations that support the status quo. They do not and have not ever lauded any science that backs up their positions on these things, guys. I'm telling you right now, you can try your best to prove me wrong. God bless you if you can. Because these organizations, whether it's the American Medical Association, I don't give two flips which one it is. It's all BS. And what Kennedy is trying to do right now is he's trying to expose it. We've got to go back. This is my opinion. We've got to go back to a zero-sum game. We got to get back to like a place where we can all agree on something so that we can build something, so that we can have a foundation. Right now, everything to do with everything that has to do with your health is a virtue signal. It's made up. It's pretend. They literally go right now, look up on your Google the food pyramid. They've got Fruit Loops and cornflakes on the food pyramid, guys. Like there's no concept whatsoever. And, you know, I could argue with the 10 million of these people over this nonsense because I understand it and a lot of people don't. But what they've been saying to you for decades are all lies.
So also Bernie brought up the Lancet. Here is a Q post 4114. When the protein sequence of SARS-CoV-2 receptor binding site was analyzed, an interesting result was found. While SARS-CoV-2 is overall more similar to bat coronaviruses, the receptor binding site was more similar to SARS-CoV. Again, bringing up the Lancet. Both SARS-CoV-2 and SARS-CoV use the same host cell receptor. It's also found that for both viruses, the viral proteins used for host cell entry bind the receptor with the same tightness, affinity. Knowledge is power. This was a genetically modified biological weapon.
To do exactly what it did, to act as a gain of function and to morph into something more destructive, the more the boosters that you added to it.
And remember, on Alex Jones's food pyramid is my neighbor. Oh, okay, here we go. Let me go back to...
That's at the center.
Here we go. Bernie Sanders, big pharma clown.
These organizations are telling us that COVID vaccine and vaccines in general are safe and effective. You are casting doubt on that. Who are the organizations that are agreeing with you and casting aspersions on vaccines?
There's one huge organization that agrees with him, and it's called We the People.
Yeah, that's a big organization.
Yeah, it's a big one.
The primary advisors are Marty McCary, Jay Bhattacharya, Dr. Oz, Vinay Prasad.
So you got a few doctors who agree with you, but I'm giving you the
Not a few doctors. What you're talking about There's a big difference, Senator, between established science and the scientific establishment, which has been co-opted by the pharmaceutical industry.
So you're telling the American people.
Yes, you're telling the American people that the pharmaceutical has co-opted science. And you, Senator.
That the American Medical Association, representing hundreds of thousands of people, have been co-opted, and that they should not trust their doctors.
And I'm
the
telling
American
you,
Academy of Pediatrics, the American, and by the way, just for the record, every single Republican, I don't mean to be political here, Mr. Chairman, has received PAC money from the pharmaceutical industry. Are they all corrupt as well?
And I'm telling you, the American Heart Association has been co-opted by the food
Everybody but you, Senator. But you know what? When you ran for president, we have a corrupt campaign finance system. Maybe you will agree with me on that. Okay, you were already president, you got a billionaire behind it. You received $300,000 from people, not from the industry, people in it, as I did, from individuals. You corrupt. President Trump got $3 million. Every Republican got corporate PAC money for the pharmaceutical industry. Democrats as well. Everybody is corrupt, but you? Is that what we're looking at? I don't think so. And I think the issue now...
I don't even know what you're talking about.
Well, I think you do know what I'm talking about.
I don't know what you're talking about.
It's called a straw man argument of bullshit.
The issue is every time anyone
Are you saying the pharmaceutical industry was supporting my presidential campaign?
I'm saying,
I don't think so.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying that the pharmaceutical industry is a greedy institution which is charging us the highest prices in the world. They are pervasive. But to suggest that every institution, the AMA, the pediatrics people, is corrupt because they disagree with you is an insult to the American people.
Listen, people disagree with me all the time. I have arguments in my agency, heated arguments every day with Jay Bhattacharya, with Marty McCary, with Dr. Oz.
You have given the names of a few people. I have given you.
Wow. Bernie coming in hot, Shady.
Yeah, but he's not listening to anything.
No.
Nobody's listening to what is being said. They are just interjecting because they're desperation. What RFK is doing is he's taking it apart. And so, what I'm seeing right here is, like the things that they're flipping out about. They're not going to be things to flip out about here in a year or so because he's going to get rid of it. And he's going to show you the science. All we want to do, we will follow the testing. Okay. Yeah. If you can show me proof that a vaccine is effective, I am willing to read it. No one has been able to show us any proof that the closest thing that we can show to an effective vaccine is the polio vaccine. That vaccine is one of the very, very few vaccines that was ever administered to an adult that showed some semblance of effectiveness. There is no other one.
But it was also the cancer virus was in the polio vaccine.
That's exactly right. And I was getting ready to say that. But it was infused with something that actually generated a different type of health problem in that generation.
Yeah.
And you're seeing the results of that right now. So go ahead.
I was going to say, do you think that this was set up before President Trump, this virus play?
Oh, yeah.
Let's watch.
There will be a surprise outbreak.
2017, Dr. Fauci.
Given, as you heard from the introduction, that I have been around for a while and have had the opportunity and the privilege and the pleasure of serving in 5 administrations, I thought I would bring that perspective to the topic today, is the issue of pandemic preparedness. And if there's one message that I want to leave with you today, based on my experience, and you'll see that in a moment, is that there is no question that there will be a challenge, the coming administration, in the arena of infectious diseases, both chronic infectious diseases in the sense of already ongoing disease, and we have certainly a large burden of that, but also there will be a surprise outbreak. And I hope by the end of my relatively short presentation, you will understand why the history of the last 32 years that I've been the director of NIAID will tell the next administration that there's no doubt in anyone's mind that they will be faced with the challenges that their predecessors were faced with. So for those who think that infectious diseases is gone, there's so many people who've made foolhardy statements not knowing at the time that they made them. I usually show a quote from an old Surgeon General or an old pundit in infectious disease So I thought I'd pull this one out from Sir McFarlane Burnett, who was actually a Nobel Prize winning immunologist, who made the statement, as many did, to write about infectious diseases is almost to write of something that has passed into history.
So basically, that was a threat, Trump to win virus so they could get him out in the next election. Period.
And then they've absolutely obliterated all of the information out there to be able to prove anything one way or the other, so that whenever someone like RFK comes in and tries to detangle it or tries to get to the bottom of it, it's an almost impossible task, and you've got everybody up there coming at him like they know more than he does, whenever he's actually looking at the information for himself and no one else cares to.
Yeah. And do you remember this, Shady Groove? But President Trump, blah, blah, blah. Listen to President Trump. Let's listen to his own words.
He should not have to. If you get COVID or whatever you want to call it, plenty of names, Wuhan virus, the China virus, you could call it we got plenty of names. But when you get it, you shouldn't have to be forced. They want to force people who have had it to have the vaccine. When in actuality, when you have it, you don't need the vaccine. You become immune. So they say, and it's rare
natural
that you
immunity.
get it twice. It is a natural immunity. Why are they forcing people to take the vaccine? Remember this, the drug companies make a lot of money, and they like it. I don't know who else wants it or likes it, but when you get it, you don't have to take the vaccine. He should not have.
Natural immunity. Oh, my God. How dare him, Shady.
Yep. That's the even Fauci stood up there and argued against the reality of that.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And said that wasn't true.
And do you remember when Morning Joe used to love RFK Jr. and expressing empathy for RFK Jr.'s belief that vaccine caused autism? Yeah. Let's watch that real quick.
My son, born in 1991, has a slight form of autism called Asperger's. But it seems, and again, when I was practicing law, and also when I was in Congress, parents would constantly come to me, and they'd bring me videotapes of their children, and they were all around the age of my son or younger. Something happened in 1989.
Exactly. The generation, what happened was the vaccine schedule was increased. We went up from receiving about 10 vaccines in our generation to these kids received 24 vaccines. And they all had this thimerosal in them, this mercury, and nobody bothered to do an analysis of what the cumulative impact of all that mercury was doing to kids. As it turns out, we are injecting our children with 400 times the amount of mercury that FDA or EPA considers safe. A child on his first day that he's born is injected with a hepatitis B shot. Under EPA guidelines, he would have to be 275 pounds to safely absorb that shot.
And yet we're just constantly pumping our kids with these vaccines.
Wow, it almost looks like he's a supporter of RFK Jr., doesn't it?
Yeah, but that would be before he became a paid shill for the established media.
And what is the major advertisers on his network?
Pharmaceuticals.
Oh! Is that how you launder money?
And now it's MS Now. Because NBC no longer wants to be associated with that bunch of idiots.
MS Now. Oh, my God. All right, so let's watch this little clip here of RFK Jr. testifying before the Senate committee.
Part of that is sharing what you know, what the CDC knows with parents so that they can make decisions. Behind me, yeah, I know it's going to be hard to see from there. I can barely read it. This is the current CDC recommendations for vaccines for children. On day number 1, they get their first jab, a hepatitis vaccine. By the time they're 18 months, they've had 18 jabs. By the time they get to be able to vote, they have 76 jabs.
Wow.
Now, when I listen, what I hear you say is that, look, vaccines are drugs. We need a measured response and a measured, when do we use this? It's interesting that the United States has put age 65 and older for COVID vaccine. UK has chosen 75 and France 80. Obviously, scientists disagree exactly when that should or shouldn't be. Hepatitis B vaccine, it makes no sense to me. I've only delivered 5,000 babies, but we do a hepatitis test on every mom. By the time she delivers that baby, I know her pretty well. And if she doesn't have any risk factors, if she's not an IV drug abuser, if she's in a stable monogamous relationship, nobody at home has hepatitis, I don't know, I don't see the benefit myself in that hepatitis vaccine. Everyone's eligible for it, everyone can get it, and my pediatricians always agree with me. And no, I'm not saying if you don't know the hepatitis status of that patient, they shouldn't get it. I'm not saying if this person's had no prenatal care, that puts them at risk for hepatitis. Can you just speak a little bit, when you talk about transparency and trying to empower and make vaccines available, these should be treated just like a medication?
Yeah, I mean, I say I'm not anti-vaccine. Saying I'm anti-vaccine is like saying I'm anti-medicine. Well, I'm pro-medicine, but I understand some medicines harm people. Some of them have risks. Some of them have benefits that outweigh those risks for certain populations, and the same is true with vaccines. And we don't understand the risk profile because vaccines are the only medical intervention, medical device, or pharmaceutical drug that are exempt from pre-licensing safety studies. And so there are 2 hepatitis vaccines, and one of them had a safety study that lasted for 4 days on 143 kids, for a product that's going to be given to 76 million kids. Yeah. The risk profile prior to the introduction of the vaccine, the risk of a baby dying from hepatitis B was 1 in 7 million. That means you need to give 7 million hepatitis B vaccines to prevent 1 death if you're going to give 7 million.
So, Mr. Sick, and I guess before the press labels me wrong, I'm not anti-vaccine either. I think MMR has been a great vaccine. The DPT has been a great vaccine. Polio has been a great vaccine. Smallpox. So there are great, but it's the measured approach that we're after, the transparency. You're trying to empower parents here. What I feel the difference is, sometimes my friends across the aisle feel like there's a one-size-fits-all, that they should be telling parents what to do. And what you and I are fighting for is we want to empower parents to make these decisions. I want to talk about morbidity and mortality of COVID for just a second. It is so true that 2 things can be true, and I don't understand why, just the rabbit hole some of my colleagues are going down. There's a big difference. When I was out there practicing, doing volunteer work, I was so confused myself on the numbers. People dying with COVID versus from COVID. And we still don't have that message. And I think that's what I hear you saying as well. How many people died from COVID versus with COVID is a different answer. The situation today is so different when this monster virus was made at a laboratory in Wuhan, China, and none of us had ever seen this virus, and we had no immunity to it. But today, every American's had COVID a dozen times probably, and we built up immunity. I think that's why both things are true. It was a miracle. Warp speed was a miracle, what President Trump and his team did, and it saved millions of lives most likely. But it's also true that it probably killed some people. Like most vaccines do, there is a death rate associated. So both things are true. Anything else you want to clear up on the morbidity, mortality of COVID and COVID vaccines?
Well, I think you just cleared it up. The COVID vaccine was critical. President Trump's leadership got it to us when our society was locked down and allowed us to open up. It was, as I said, perfectly matched to a virus that was new in the experience of humanity. And so it was a miracle. Right now, we're dealing with completely different circumstances where the virus has mutated, where it's much less dangerous, where there's a lot of natural immunity and herd immunity. And so the calculus is different and it's complicated. And, if you just want to turn everything into a soundbite, it makes it, you can't have a grown-up conversation. But there were more reports to VAERS, which is the only surveillance system that we have, of injuries and deaths from that vaccine that all vaccines put together in history. So we have to acknowledge that there was a cause. We acknowledge that there was a benefit. We can't quantify either one because of the data chaos at CDC. And that's all I'm saying. And they think I'm being evasive because I won't make a kind of a statement that's almost religious in nature. Did it save 1 million lives? Well, there's no data to support that. There may be data, there's no study, that there's modeling studies, there's faulty data. I'm not going to sign on to something if I can't do it to a scientific certainty. It doesn't mean that I'm, anti-vax. It just means I'm pro-science.
Thank you.
And, he just echoed what President Donald J. Trump truthed out just the other day, talking about pharmaceutical companies actually proving, the data that they keep saying it's 100% effective, it's safe, prove it. Okay. He said that he's seen data that said that it's all great and shiny, bright and shiny, but there is no transparency. They're hiding it on you. We want to see the data. We want to see how you came up with 100% effective, Shady.
Yeah, because we know that that's not true. You understand that that can't possibly be true. So as soon as somebody says that it's a lie and that it's a media blown narrative, and all of the different things that are around this topic are exactly that, because the pharmaceutical companies are paying for their advertising. It's marketing. It's really it's essentially it's marketing. It's like preventing someone who is anti your product from being able to talk, as opposed to being able to talk directly to, like, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me if they're so adamant about their product, why they're so afraid of criticism. If I think that something that I have that I'm selling will work, then I'd like for people to challenge me so that I could prove to you that what it is that I have does actually work. Like, that's the way the process is supposed to go. They turn it on its head whenever they try to undermine you for asking a question that is obviously, you're saying, oh, I'm going to inject something into me. I have questions. And then you look and they send you these, remember the sheets with the COVID vaccine? They're like, you open up this huge sheet,
blank.
It looks like completely blank. Yeah. That's how much they trust you with information.
Yeah. So I agree with JD Vance. You want to see this, Shady? You're going to love this.
All right.
When I see all these senators trying to lecture and gotcha Bobby Kennedy today, all I can think is, quote, "You all support off-label, untested, and irreversible hormone therapies for children, mutilating our kids and enriching big pharma. You're full of shit and everyone knows it."
Boom.
Press 47 if you agree with that.
Boom. Wow, JD.
Wow.
Yep. Yes, sir.
JD Vance.
Because that is exactly the proper point to be making, because they are all they're all in the tank for this. They're saying that, there is no such thing as a trans kid.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. You guys can continue with your bullshit all you want. There is no such thing as a trans kid. That does not exist. That is a Democrat psychological operation against society, everybody. There's no such thing. Protecting trans kids means that you're protecting people that are inundating children with drugs and trying to mutilate them.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yes, I agree with JD Vance. I agree with Donald J. Trump. Let's actually try to see if I can find that post from Donald J. Trump, because it's really good. And I think we need to read it again, or read it, because I think it happened this weekend. It might be a long way down here, Shady. Do you have it handy by any chance?
I don't, but I know what you're talking about.
Yep. It's about earlier this morning on my orders. Now, True Social is blank.
It's like a well-oiled machine over there.
All right, here it is. Got it. It is very important that drug companies justify the success of their various COVID drugs. Many people think they are a miracle and saved millions of lives. Others disagree. With CDC being ripped apart over this question, I want the answer, and I want it now. I have been shown information from Pfizer and others that this is extraordinary, but they never seem to show those results to the public. Why not? They go off to the next hunt and they let everybody rip themselves apart, including Bobby Kennedy Jr. and the CDC, trying to figure out the success or failure of the drug company's COVID work. They show me great numbers and results, but they don't seem to be showing them to many others. I want them to show them now to the CDC and the public and clear up this mess one way or the other. I hope Operation Warp Speed was, quote, brilliant, end quote, as many say it was. If not, we all want to know about it and why. Thank you for your attention to this very important matter, President DJT.
There you have it. There's another MG show proof, exactly what we told you was going on a number of times.
Yep.
You're only as good as the information that you have, and the people that are putting information in front of Donald Trump are the people that are pro the process. Now we've broken through that spell. Now Donald Trump is talking directly to the American public and saying we want to get to the bottom of it. In other words, right, that post right there is Donald Trump hanging the pharmaceutical companies out to dry. They no longer have the ability to manipulate him. That's what he's telling you, and that's exactly the way this is going to move forward. And I think that RFK Jr. has done an outstanding job standing up to these crackpots on both sides. I saw a little bit of some of the other, even some of the Republican people that were up there earlier this morning attacking him in an absolutely unbelievable, unfair way.
Yeah.
This portion of CBS This Morning, sponsored by Pfizer.
Good Morning America is brought to you by Pfizer.
CBS Health Watch, sponsored by Pfizer.
Anderson Cooper 360. Brought to you by Pfizer.
ABC News Nightline, brought to you by Pfizer.
Making a difference. Brought to you by Pfizer. CNN Tonight. Brought to you by Pfizer. Early Start. Brought to you by Pfizer. Friday night on Aaron Burnett Out Front. Brought to you by Pfizer.
This Week with George Stephanopoulos is brought to you by Pfizer. Today's countdown to the royal wedding is brought to you by Pfizer.
And now a CBS Sports Update brought to you by Pfizer.
Meet the Press Data Download, brought to you by Pfizer. This portion of CBS This Morning, sponsored by Pfizer.
On how to find the hidden sugars in the American family diet, sponsored by Pfizer.
This portion of CBS.
That's not funny.
It's not it's not funny because your news is brought to you by the pharmaceutical lobby. Do you understand?
The idea that you would have, like, within the context, you would have one person on TV that this would happen to would be pretty outstanding. The idea that there's hundreds of them that this happened to is so alarming. I can't even be qualified to make a comment about it.
It's just crazy.
It's cray, bro.
Yeah. Brought to you by Pfizer. And we are not brought to you by Lucifizer.
We are not. We are pure blood.
Wow, guys. It's so crazy.
But man, aren't you glad to see that there's light at the end of the tunnel? I mean, right there today, I feel like that we can see that Robert Kennedy is not going to take to the pressure, and he has a similar line of sight as Donald Trump. Like, ineptitude needs to be fired. People that are no good at what they do, they need to be thrown out. People that are being argumentative and aren't standing up for the facts or the science. Well, this is a scientific organization. You know, it's like they try to politicize everything. You cannot politicize scientific results. I'm sorry to say, no matter how often you try, there's no possible way to do that other than in the media.
Yeah. Wow. And that's pretty much a show today, Shady. Holy moly. Time flies when you're...
How do we do? Did we cover that okay, guys?
The deep state.
The deep state.
The deep steak.
I'm hungry.
Oh, I just got hungry too, just by thinking of that.
Yeah, the steak.
Wow, guys. Wow. All right, so I went to try to look for, somebody said Lee family was given to by Bill Clinton. No, it was the Rockefellers, and I tried to go to my Lee family thread, Shady Grove.
Oh, don't tell me that's the same as the NRO thread.
It's gone. It's just, what the hell, dude?
What are we going to, yeah. Wow. I have to fight and scratch to find every single thread. There's only like about 3,000 of them.
Yeah, that's right. Wow. Wow.
Boy, oh boy.
Well, we're just going to go head out of here.
Being uncensored is not really being uncensored, is it?
No, it's not.
It seems weird.
It's not. All right, guys. We'll catch you guys later. And, there's much more coming out in regards to, everything with the Russia. By the way, I didn't tell you this today, but I had a conversation with Pete Santilli, Shady.
Saw that.
He's acting like Flynn is the end all be all, and he's working with all these, DNI and DOJ. No, he's not. You can't prove that. I was in the room. No, stop it. These people are just ridiculous. This is a Trump movement. Great. I agree with you supporting Trump. Great. But are you really? Did you see what what's his nut said today, Shady Groove? Did you see what Flynn is actually supporting Massey with this Epstein stuff against your president, Donald J. Trump, when the president actually just said it's garbage, guys?
I told you that he was a Democrat.
Wow.
Tried to tell you.
Wow.
Gloria Allred is the quintessential Democrat.
Who's Gloria? I mean, oh, the lawyer?
Yeah, that's who was there yesterday with the Epstein victims.
Ah, that's right. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, guys.
We've
Yeah, and
come full circle.
Marjorie Taylor Greene as well. That was pretty interesting.
Standing at the microphone with a pedo 47 sign behind her.
Wow.
It literally said hashtag pedo 47 right behind Marjorie as she was standing at the microphone yesterday, talking about this nonsense of these people. The lady at the microphone yesterday said that we are going to work together to compile our own list. I'm sorry to tell you guys, but you're either a human being that was molested by a politician or a celebrity, or you aren't. You're not just like sitting around going over it with your friends to say, oh, well, who molested you? This is ridiculous.
And did you see how well dressed these people that got huge settlements were?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they're well off.
Yeah. All right, guys. We'll see you guys tomorrow. God bless you all. Tomorrow is Friday. Yeah.
Here we go.
So see you guys tomorrow. Shady, thank you. Yeti, thank you. Thank you for your... Wait, let me just double check and make sure something here, Shady Groove, because this happens sometimes. Nope. 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 Yep. Nope. 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 All right, guys. We shall see you tomorrow. We love you guys.
See you tomorrow.
Bye.
Out on the back roads where the signal's strong, the two voices cut through, singing freedom song. Matrix and Shady, with their boots on tight, chasing down the shadows in the dead of night. Tune in, turn it up, hear the story unfold. The MG Show, spinning facts of gold. In the Matrix and Shady groove, the ride in the wave, kicking up dust on the truth, they say. Jeffrey's been cued many times, they tried to shut him down, banned from the platforms, but he still holds ground. With Shady by his side, they're calling it out. What's hid in the dark, they're shouting about. Tune in, turn it up, hear the story unfold. The MG Show, spinning facts of gold. In the Matrix and Shady groove, they're riding the wave, kicking up dust on the truth, they say. They've been censored and flagged, but they won't back down. Patriots cheering from every small town. With a constitution in hand and a fire in their eyes, they're waking the world to the deep state's disguise. Through the static and noise, they're a beacon so bright. A country boy's fight for what's wrong and what's right, and what's right. Jeffrey and Shannon, they're leading the way. A soundtrack for freedom, come what may. Tune in, turn it up, hear the story unfold. The MG Show, spinning facts of gold. In the Matrix and Shady groove, they're riding the wave, kicking up dust on the truth, they say.
That's right. Make America healthy again.
The road they roam, bringing the fight right into your home. With a twang and a spark, they're setting us free. The MG Show's the sound of liberty.
www.mg.show. Thank you, everybody. Boom.